Hey everyone, looks like we're live now, and today I'm here to talk to you about how to record your virtual class meetings without any of your students' identifiable information, such as their faces or their voices. So the high school has been working on putting together some directions, and I thought that this would be a good little visual on how to do it. It's really easy, but it's definitely something to be aware of in this day and age, and every day really. So for those of you that might have tuned in at 10:15 when I started this at 10:15, you get to listen to this again. I've already done it once, so hopefully we can get this taken care of for you guys and get you off and running. So I'm going to show you how to do this within Meet first, and then we'll look at how to do it in Zoom, and then also some other considerations that I would keep in mind when it comes to Zoom. And then I'll also look at QuickTime Player, which is another easy way to record your screen, and that lets you get a lot more selective control over what you're sharing, which can be nice to give you just a little bit more control. So I'm going to actually share my screen in Meet, and this is going to be a little bit funky because I'm sharing my screen of sharing my screen, but fortunately the screen itself is going to look pretty straightforward. So from here, now that you can see my screen, we're going to look at, first off, how can we change our settings in our screen so that way we are not going to see what the students look like. So for those of you that have used Meet before, this will be pretty easy for you to navigate around. So hopefully you have had a crash course in how to use Google Meet in the first place, but we're going to go up to our three dots and click on Change Layout. And then the trick is to set it to Spotlight. And once you set it on Spotlight, then the only thing that should be showing is yourself. And I'm just watching the screening of this video so that way I can make sure that you guys see things how you should be. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could take these images up here on the right and I can pin just myself. So in this case, the only image that I would see would be myself. Or I could pin my desktop. Of course, right now this is a little confusing because I'm showing my desktop, which is showing my desktop. But this will bring it back to the less confusing view. So the idea here is that we see only ourselves in this window. We don't see anyone else. The other piece that I would have the students do at this point is to make sure that they are turning off their camera and turning off their microphone through the bottom of the Meet. So if you look down there at the very bottom, you can turn off your microphone and turn off your camera. Turning off your camera can be a good thing in the first place because some of our kiddos aren't very comfortable with being seen or showing off what's going on in the world behind them and the environment that they're living in. So that's just something to be mindful about. But also we can have them turn off their microphones so that way we don't hear their dog barking in the background or their little brothers and sisters working on homework as well. So I usually have them turn off both of those. And then I'm going to actually start recording. So I'll do the three dots and then start meeting or record meeting. Keep in mind, I'm seeing stop streaming because I'm streaming this workshop live, so that way I don't have any live participants joining in. So I'm just going to record the meeting. And doing that, I'm going to say accept because I'm the only one that's in this recording. And so you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of my screen, it's saying recording will start soon. So it is now recording, and I'd be able to conduct my class as necessary through here and not worry about seeing any of my students' identities at the same time. So in order to stop my recording, I can click on the three dots in the bottom right-hand corner, and once I'm all done, click Stop Recording. And we'll hit Stop Recording as well. Okay. The nice part about recording directly in Google Meet is that it's going to ingest the video file, process it, and then share it with me through my Google Drive and send me an email telling me that it's ready. So it makes it really easy in terms of archiving. I don't have to worry about uploading it. It just does everything on the back end, which is super simple. Now the other piece that we're going to look at is how we can accomplish the same sort of thing within Zoom. So when we open up Zoom, which is this option down here in my window, now I'm hoping that many of you have experience with Zoom. So if this is your chosen platform, this is where we're going to look at how to do the same thing with the Zoom platform. However, if you are not comfortable using Zoom, hopefully you understood how to do the Google Meet aspect and you can get started with that and then stop listening to me at this point because this is Zoom. So from here, we're going to click Start. You can actually yeah, you can see all my information on there. So I'll click start in order to get my my Zoom to start. And so this is my Zoom screen. Now, this is, again, a little bit funky because I'm seeing this Zoom window with only myself. So if I were to have more students in this, then obviously my view options would be a little bit different. I can change my view options through the top. And the idea is that I want to pin myself. So if I do over here, I can go through and I can actually mute all my students. I can also set it so that students are muted upon entry. And then some of the other settings would be that I could actually stop the video for everyone that's in this. So turning off everyone's video on my own, turning off their microphones on my own. And then if I wanted to start recording, I'm going to click the record option. I'm going to record it without audio. This is just asking me if I want to unmute myself because my microphone for Zoom is currently muted. So I'll say record without audio. And then it's going to start recording. So now in the upper left-hand corner, we see that Zoom is recording. If I need to pause at any time in order to answer students' questions or be able to do anything like that, I could hit pause and then bring up the chat, for example, and be able to answer their questions. And then I can say, okay, I'm going to go back to the normal. So we're going to stop with questions for now. Then I can return to recording and then keep on going through there, because keep in mind, we don't want to record our students and show this anywhere. So pausing is a great tool to use within Zoom. Now I'm going to stop recording. We're going to pretend that our Zoom class is over. Then the other piece that you can do within here has to do with chat, and this is a hidden feature that not a lot of people use. So if you click on the chat option in the bottom toolbar, over here on the right-hand side are 3 dots. And if you choose that, you can actually choose who the participants can chat with. So if you're having problems with back channel chatting or people asking a lot of questions within it, you can actually turn off the chat altogether and then selectively turn it on when you're ready to accept questions. And at that point, I would set it to host only. You could also set it so that everyone can post publicly, but no one can post privately. I think the bottom one is hard to do with the students that we have. So I would either do no one, host, or everyone publicly. I like using host only myself. The other piece that I would consider is having it set to no one until the end of class, unless you wanted to be managing comments. Sometimes it can be overwhelming as a teacher to juggle between watching the comments and doing your lecture and covering everything else. But if I wanted to take attendance, for example, when I got to the end of class, I could turn it on to host only. I could say, okay, everyone, before you log off, make sure that you just type into the chat that you're here, so that way I have your attendance for the day. And thank you so much, and you're ready to go. And so that sort of takes care of your attendance. And then the fun part is that if you're recording this, it will send you the chat transcript, but you could also do the 3 dots and save chat. And that just gives you a text file, saves it within your Zoom folder on your computer, and that way you have the log of who actually participated in the chat. So I'm going to end the Zoom call because that covers how to cover that aspect of Zoom. I will end the meeting for all. And then the other piece on here is to go back into our Google Meet. And if I wanted to record only a specific portion of our Google Meet, then I can use QuickTime Player. And so if I click on the spyglass or the magnifying glass in the top, open up QuickTime Player. Then QuickTime Player, for those of you that haven't used it before, is very easy. It's just this top toolbar across the top. So I can do File, New Screen Recording. And then from here, it lets me be selective about what area of the screen I'm going to record. So I could choose to record only the portion of the screen that actually has my face in it. And then if my students, for example, were on the right-hand side of the Meet, then I could just make sure that they're not being included within the recording area. And then if I click record, it's going to give me a 5-second countdown, and then it will start recording that area of my screen. So now it's recording, and if any of my students were outside, it's a little hard to see, but there's sort of a dark black area out here and then a gray box here. So this would be a lot more visible if I was actually sharing my screen or sharing myself. So it would only record the area that is shown, and then when I was done with it, I could press the stop button at the top in order to stop recording, and then it will bring it up in QuickTime Player like this, and I can do File, and then Export As, or Save, I should say, and then I could save this video using the naming conventions that I wanted to and save it in a location of my choice, and then I'll be able to use it later. So that is how you can use Google Meet and Zoom and QuickTime Player to record your virtual class meetings in an appropriate way. Keep in mind that everything that we're doing these days involves our students, right? So remembering FERPA is going to be a really crucial part of all of your work with this. So be mindful about what you're recording and how you're sharing it. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, do make sure that you check in with me. I do office hours every day from noon until 2. You can find more information on the BE Remote Learning webpage, and so you're more than welcome to stop in anytime and get help with this. I'm also more than willing to do Zoom or Meet calls with anyone and be your practice student, so you can practice recording your screen without including my face in it if I'm your student, okay? So I'm here to help. Reach out to me anytime, and I'd be more than happy to do so. Have a great day, everyone.